Hello, and welcome to the Aspire Goalkeeping podcast, the place to be for all of your goalkeeping talk. In this series of podcasts, we will be talking to a range of goalkeepers and coaches, from the professionals right the way down to the grassroots players and coaches, to get their input and thoughts on a wide range of topics to do with goalkeeping, and to learn a little bit more about them as people and their careers. Sit back, take a listen, and get involved in the Aspire Goalkeeping podcast. Hi guys, and welcome to the Aspire Goalkeeping podcast with me, Adam.
And I'm Sam.
And we are here today with Adam and Robin from Abingdon United Women. So guys, would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourselves, the roles that you play at the club and the place that you work at, really?
We'll start with Robin.
Hi guys, I'm Robin. I'm the head of women's goalkeeping at Abingdon United Women's. I work alongside Adam, helping to make sure that the development of goalkeepers is going smoothly during the season, and working with those and the rest of the coaching staff on the goalkeeping side to get training sessions done, warm-ups done, and oversee the development of the goalkeepers through the first team and the under-18s.
And yourself, Adam?
So I'm the head of women's football and first team manager. So I kind of look after both the under-18s and the first team from an operational perspective, and obviously the day-to-day management of the first team. But that's kind of all the background stuff, along with obviously the coaching staff, but the day-to-day running. So I'm on the committee as well. So it's a very much the women's setup falls under me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
brilliant.
No, it's brilliant. So obviously, you've been with ourselves as partners for probably this season now, which has been brilliant for us and yourselves. Can you just tell us a little bit about your club, the league you're playing, and also how you found COVID-19 and obviously not being able to play?
Yeah, sure. I think I'll take that one, Robin.
Yeah.
So we play in the Southern region, which is Tier 5 of women's football. We formed back in 2017, so we've done quite well to get to Tier 5. In terms of how COVID's affected us quite badly, not badly in terms of finances and all that kind of stuff, more from the fact of trying to keep players that don't get paid motivated, because we all know that we're going to come back at some stage. Well, obviously with us is next week, but it's been a challenge because of the on and off, I think, more than anything. Obviously, we returned for a little bit. The first lockdown wasn't so bad because we just thought it was new to everybody. So it just happened, really. So it was quite easy not easy to deal with, but easier to deal with. And then obviously we started this new season thinking there was going to be a contingency plan in place and all of that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, it was stop-start. And then obviously a couple of weeks ago, they made the announcement that they have curtailed the season.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
What about you, Robin, and yourself? How have you found it not being able to obviously get coaching as the head of goalkeeping? Have you found it difficult, and what have you been able to do to obviously keep yourself busy?
Well, working with the goalkeepers, everybody knows it's a specialised sort of position, so it's quite simple for outfield players to keep themselves fit, keep themselves moving, but it's a different kind of fitness and match fitness for goalkeepers, as we know. So it's trying to keep in contact with the girls, making sure that they're doing their own things, offering some one-to-one coaching if needed, but allowing them their space to do what they need to do. But like Adam said, it's the stop-start side of things where it's difficult to keep the girls motivated, to keep ourselves motivated, when realistically all we want to do is be getting our hands onto the footballs and moving around again.
Yeah, definitely. So for both of you, this is a kind of question for both of you to answer separately, if you know what I mean. So obviously women's football has grown quite rapidly, I think, across England, especially since the England national team did pretty well in the last few tournaments and stuff like that. How do you guys think, so for starters, for Adam as a club, how do you think that you've grown into women's football? And then for you, Robin, how do you think that the girls have improved with the coaching that you obviously give them and things like that, whichever order you want to take that in?
I think, to be fair, I mean, I've been myself in women's football for quite a long time, and when I first probably started out coaching, can't remember how long ago it was probably about 10 years ago. I remember saying to the junior team that I took at the time, by the time you're 19, 20, you'll be able to earn a career out of playing women's football. And to be fair, I'm quite glad that I haven't, that hasn't failed me, that saying, because obviously you've got a lot of the likes of the professional footballers now are earning a relatively decent salary in terms as grand things go. We were quite lucky when we formed because I came over from another club, and I had quite a few players with me. So when we formed, and the one thing that I tried to do was try and make us just that little bit different from just your everyday grassroots county level club. So we tried to do things. I've kind of had a mantra all along that we're trying to be one of the most professional clubs in the amateur setup. And so, straight away I got onto things like social media, made sure our social media message was strong. Small things such as it might be mascots, it be, linking up with youth teams and all that kind of stuff that went down really well. And I think that did give us a bit of a good reputation, especially in the first season. And then we did have a very successful first season. We won 3 trophies. So that will always help your reputation anyway, especially when you're coming from a small town in Oxfordshire. But yeah, and I think our main aim is just to try and continue that forward. And that's how I feel that we can impact. I'm sure Robin's told you before that, we're launching an academy this year. We're hoping that we can get it sorted for the girls. But one of the key things about that academy is that it's going to be very locally community kind of affected, really linked up to the local community. So we're really going to try and give Abingdon something proud to be a part of if you're in the Abingdon community. But I think also where I have been at free clubs in terms of women's football, I learned from mistakes that they've made, and I've taken the successes that they've made and implemented it into this club. So that's probably the main difference that Abingdon has probably had in terms of what I've been able to see. But for me, it's the success factor of that is probably the financial driven behind it. We've had more than 10 plus sponsors every single season, whether that be shirt sponsors, player sponsors, or anything like that. And then we get successful partnerships like yourselves. We got a new marketing partner as well. So, people like yourself don't go into partnerships with people that they just think are going to throw them under the bus and they just want a cheap deal. So I think that's kind of the success factor, the way to measure it up for me.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. And yourself, Robin?
Yeah, so one of the good things about Abingdon, I'd say one of the great things about Abingdon United Women's is we're one of the very few women's clubs out there that have a dedicated goalkeeping team. It's growing up playing myself, it was only really at the higher levels of football that I was playing at that I had the dedicated goalkeeping team, and things like that. So, and before that it was the boys clubs, but the boys clubs had the goalkeeping coaches as well. So we're very lucky in the sense that, Adam and I can work together quite closely to develop, the whole starting 11, should we say, starting from the goalkeepers forward. So, that's a massive benefit to the goalkeepers working with Abingdon United Women's as well. It gives them a chance to not just be stuck in between the posts for a 90-minute training session with balls just being kicked at them every 5 seconds. They actually get dedicated goalkeeping coaches. There's 3 goalkeeper coaches at Abingdon United Women's now. So there's me who oversees the other 2 goalkeeper coaches as well, one with the under-18s and one with the first team. And I get involved very much with the coaching as well. So it's very beneficial to the club and as a whole that we're not just sticking the poor goalkeeper in between the 2 sticks for a 90-minute cold training session on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, that's felt.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, have you been able to see the improvements of the goalkeepers then, with the additional training that they've been given?
Absolutely. Adam, I hope Adam will back me up when I say it. Yeah, absolutely. We've got 4 keepers between the under-18s and the first team, with one of them at a academy, which is really good for her development as well.
Definitely, yeah.
But you can see it week in, week out that the girls are enjoying the sessions, which is improving their development as well. So they're getting things that they wouldn't get at the beginning of the season. They're now understanding, but they're understanding the theory in the goalkeeping as well, rather than just the practicality of it. They're understanding why they're doing the things that they're doing and why we like to play out from the back, as an example. They're understanding the reasons rather than just the practicality, which is really good to see.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So obviously, with us being partners for the past, probably looking at since September time, would
Yeah,
it be?
probably.
How have we helped you? How have you helped us? Have we helped you? That's what we want to know. We want guidance on how we can help you even more, because obviously you now got an academy coming in, which we've spoke about, and we'd love to be a part of that. So how have we helped you? And obviously, what do you have planned for the future?
Should I take that one?
Go for it.
I think the biggest thing is it, like I say earlier, it adds that little bit of professional touch. It makes, because we make sure, I say make sure, it sounds like we're forcing them, but because we encourage our goalkeepers to wear, your gloves, it makes them feel kind of part of something, as opposed to, bring your own gloves, and they might have some really poor gloves, for example. And I think it's just, Robin's right in terms of the goalkeeping is a very specialist position, as you guys all know. And sometimes I found that, I mean, I've been quite lucky since we've been at Abingdon, that I've always had a goalkeeper coach, and I've seen the benefits of having a goalkeeper coach. And I think that's the main thing. So Robin came in, gave me the idea about connecting with you guys, and that's, it's that message of professionalism, and it's that kind of, do you know what, you could have a play. Very rarely do you see in the public media that a goalkeeper's got a brand new spanking pair of Puma football boots. It's always, what gloves are they wearing, what, and all this kind of stuff. And obviously, I think it's Scunthorpe you guys are linked with, and it gives them that kind of little edge that we're tier 5 in women's football. They won't ever be, well, they might be, but Abingdon will never be tier 1 or tier 2, because we just don't have the finances for it. But it gives them that little professional difference between it. There's obviously the social media stuff. There's obviously, I believe Robin's in regular dialogue with you guys about what we can do for you and what you can do for us. So it builds up that really good relationship. And like you said, because we feel that we've been quite successful in terms of, I know we've not really had a full season yet, but where we've got your gloves, we trust the product. I know Robin's purchased a few more items as well. It builds that relationship where we can go. I think your guys are coming down to us in pre-season, and it's just nice to have, more than anything, that having that relationship there. I mean, I'm a HR consultant for my main job, so me building client relationships is everything. And so in the aspect of having a partnership, it's just massively beneficial, more than anything. We, like I say, we tried to build partnerships here and there. We've tried to do them all over the place. You could argue we do have one with Avec, because we've been with Avec for so long and we have a good agreement with Avec and things like that. So it's just, for me, it's just the professionalism, and that's what I enjoy about it, because it's a long travel for me and Robin to travel to Abingdon. So we're going to make sure we do it right. And that's, you guys are helping us do that.
Well, definitely. That's actually just mentioned there, that we're obviously coming down to do some training sessions with you, which we're really looking forward to obviously actually meet you guys for the first time, because obviously with COVID we've not been able to do that. So we're really looking forward to coming down, whether it be 1, 2, few sessions in the pre-season. We are really looking forward to getting down.
Definitely. So yeah, I've got the question that I didn't actually send across to you first. Just to put you on the spot a little bit, if you don't mind.
Here we go.
I'd love to know kind of like what the aims of the club are going forward into next. I don't know if you want to go short, medium, long term, whatever you want for you, Adam. And then for you, Robin, like what would be the aims for the goalkeepers that you currently have at your club? Would that be to push them into kind of the academy systems? Would that be to push them into the higher leagues? What are the kind of aims with that?
In terms of long-term goals, we're kind of matching. I say matching. We're kind of going along the same route as what the men's are. In terms of, we want to be as successful. They want to be successful, but we've got to be realistic. There's Oxford United down by us. There's Reading down by us. So sometimes you just have to set your goals quite realistically. My personal aim for the women's setup is, despite Oxford United being the National League, is that we will either be the second or the biggest club in Oxfordshire for women's football. That's probably more of a 5 to 10 year term. And if come the day that I leave, that'll be the person who replaces me will be that attitude as well. We're not going to be a team of just people that just come in and just look after a women's team every Sunday. And from my personal perspective on the club, I've kind of already seen some successes, such as, I've had coaches that have coaches that have coached our teams and have moved on to bigger clubs, moved on to bigger things. For me, we have the academy would be the big measure, because we're going to have potentially 15 to 18-year-olds coming in, and if we can either get them playing for our first team at some stage. Obviously, Robin's already mentioned about one of ours at an academy already, but the other goalkeeper, who is also very young, she's only 15, has already expressed interest, for example, to join an academy as well. So if they're making it to our first team, for me, that's a success already. But if they go on beyond that, fantastic. If we've got players playing for, as it stands, Oxford United, or if they even go on to the Women's Championship or the Women's Super League, that's a success for me. Because whilst Abingdon is not owned by a multi-millionaire, we're not going to play WSL and WCL. So, so that's kind of the way that I see it. When I joined the club in 2017, I said I wanted us to be National League in 5 years' time. COVID struck 2 years out of that, but we're still only one division away, and we will be applying for the upward movement, whether we get it or not, that the FA have introduced. If we get the upward movement, we're in the National League. So that's still 1 year short of what we wanted to do it in. But just to continue, the continuation is probably the main aim. So at the moment, as Robin said, I've got 3 goalkeeper coaches, I've got a fitness coach, I've got a person who's learning to do their physio, we've got sports nutritionists, we've got I've got a head coach, I've got 3 coaches looking after the under 18s. That's what I want, because that's what I feel makes it work. That's nothing against the guys who do go in every Sunday and Wednesday to do all of their stuff on their own, because they have to. But I always try to build a team, and I've had that wherever I've been, that I want to build a team around me. Mainly because I like to share the credit, because I'm not the best coach in the world. However, if I'm looking after one of the best coaching teams in the world, that's a success. So it's difficult. Short-term goal would be National League. Long-term goal is just to continue trying to do what we're doing.
Yeah, so looking at it from the goalkeeping side, my main priority is to, we've got goalkeepers who are 30 year of age, just turned 21, and 16 and 15-year-olds. So, the younger goalkeepers, the main focus is their development, their confidence, their drive more than anything. If they decide that they don't want to keep moving up and moving up and moving up, that's their decision. But we will be there to support them as a staff, not just the goalkeeping team, but the whole of the management team, the whole of the coaching team will be there to support the goalkeeping needs, whether that be helping them get to a game on a Sunday, taking them to a trial or anything like that. If something's going to be able to help them develop and help them make that upward step, if that's what they choose to do, then that's, the main priority is them more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. So speaking towards the goalkeeping side, it's more aimed towards Robin. Do you think there's any massive differences between men's goalkeeping side and the women's goalkeeping side?
I think it's one of those. It's the age-old question, isn't it, of the difference between men's and women's football in general. It's the age-old question. There'll always be a difference between male goalkeepers and female goalkeepers. I'm pushed to name more than 3 female goalkeepers that I know that are over 6'2". Whereas most male goalkeepers these days, the average height of a male goalkeeper is approximately 6'2", as an example. So it's. I don't think that there's no point in drawing comparisons between the two. Both have their strengths, both have their weaknesses. The women's game for me is more technical because women aren't naturally as strong and fast as the men's game. So the men's game is always going to be quicker, faster, stronger, whereas the women's game, I found, and playing with myself as well, is a lot more technical. The goalkeepers, the female goalkeepers that I've seen are better with the ball at their feet, as an example, playing out from the back. That decision making is there as well. So it's hard to draw a comparison, but the differences aren't discrediting either the women's game or the men's game. It's the same sport, but it's a different sport, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's very much the girls that I work with and Adam works with, I think that they can be the best goalkeepers, in our league, in the league above. Whereas it's the difference in coaching and coming up through the stages as well, if that makes sense. So I was very lucky from a young age. I had goalkeeping coaches from the age of 6. So I was very lucky in the sense but that was in the boys section. As soon as I went to the girls section, it wasn't until I got higher up, in my football career, that I had a dedicated football coach, goalkeeper coach. So it's one of those where it goes back to the reason I wanted to, when I spoke with Adam and Adam offered me the chance to work with him with the goalkeepers, I wanted to do it because he can see how important it is for the development of them as well. So it's a difficult question to answer without getting into a very big debate and long conversation.
Of course. Well, we're definitely looking forward to obviously coming down and see how you coach and what you do, but also for you to see how we coach as well, because obviously it's not just between the male and the female, it's also where you live. Like, we live across the other side of the country. We may do things a little bit different to yourselves. It'd be good to learn off each other, and it'll be really exciting to see how each other, our differences and also our similarities as well.
Definitely.
So when you have girls coming through and also your first team, what advice can you give to people, goalkeeping and outfield, and also the women's game in general, because it's obviously different to what we're used to? What advice do you give to all the young girls coming through?
My advice would always be, don't let anything put you off. If it's a passion that you want to follow your passions, because there's not much, there's no need to compare. I know Robin mentioned about the comparisons, and there will always be the comparisons. And for some reason, the comparisons are only ever in football. You very rarely see people comparing the women's rugby team to the men's rugby team in England and stuff like that. But it's just, if it's something you want to do, and I'd say this about any sport, in fact, anything you want to chase in life. But if you want to do it, just find the right club that's for you. And link up with your county FA to find out a bit of stuff about it. But don't be afraid to move on if it's not right. If it doesn't feel right for you in that club, and it will do, you guys will know as former footballers, you'll sometimes land in clubs that, do you know what, this doesn't feel right. So just don't feel that you have to stick there. Loyalty is good, but loyalty is very rarely rewarded in football. But in terms of young aspiring girls, don't be afraid to reach out to those big clubs as well. One thing I will say is that we've had guidance along the way from Chelsea. We've had guidance along the way from Oxford United, clubs in higher levels than us. The one thing I will say about the women's game compared to the men's game is the women's side of the game tends to be a bit more open and a bit more encouraging in terms of trying to get expert advice. And let's be honest, if you're looking at Oxford United coaches in the women's setup, they've probably still got UEFA B badges, UEFA A badges, the same as what they have in the men's setup. So there's no real difference in their experience and qualifications. So just don't be afraid to ask. I say that to any youngsters that come through for us, or any youngsters that Robin and I might go out and coach. Just don't be afraid to ask, and just follow what you want to do. If you want to play football, football is this fastest growing game in the women's side of sport. So just go out and enjoy it. Just, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the next professional Steph Houghton or anything like that, or Frank Kirby, or now I'm caught on the spot, I can't think of a female keeper. Just go out there and enjoy it. That's the only advice I would really give. You can enjoy football and not be good at it. I'm rubbish at football. I used to be rubbish at football, and but I know the game, so just go out and enjoy it. That's it.
I would just say, from a goalkeeping point of view, don't worry about making those mistakes. It's a natural part of development. It's a natural part of learning, and anything, whether it's playing in goal, playing outfield, your science test that's coming up. It's okay to make those mistakes, but it's more important that you understand why you've made those mistakes, rather than just knowing it's a mistake. If you understand the reason you've made that mistake, you can learn from it. It's okay to, like Adam said, ask for that help. There's so many young girls out there who could be the next Mary Earps or the next Becky Spencer, or they could be going out there, the next Emma Byrne, one of the best goalkeepers who played for Arsenal Women's in Ireland, in my opinion. It's one of those where they did not come through the ranks without making a mistake. They didn't play the game for as long as they have and playing for as long as they have without making those mistakes. It's okay. So long as you're happy, contented, and safe in what you're doing, that's the most important part for me.
Massively comes from you guys as well, that making that safe environment for the kids to, kids and adults to make mistakes.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Robin, I'd love to dive in a little bit about your career, if you wouldn't mind. Just tell us a little, if you're comfortable doing it, tell us a little bit about that. And then Adam, obviously, following on from that, what kind of help that Robin gives you with the specialist goalkeeping, and what someone with her experience does to help you out on the day-to-day kind of running of the club?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to start about 20 years ago for me.
Fine by us, not a problem.
Well, my first memory of playing football was my dad took me down to the local goal side when I grew up. I grew up in West London. He took me down there. They shoved me at centre-back because I was quite tall for a 6-year-old. They put me in at centre-back thinking I'd be a good front line, and all I wanted to do was catch and dive all over the football. So my dad had an idea. He was going to stick me between the sticks instead of protecting in front of them. And it just went from there. I was very lucky to play. The first club I joined was Hanwell Town, back in London. Played for the boys section in the under-9s and under-10s. Best memory from that was we had a cup final. First thing that the other team said was, "Oh, this should be easy. They've got a girl in goal." And I saved the winning penalty.
Yes.
So I was very happy about that.
Yeah.
Very happy about that. From there, I went to, I played at several different Centre of Excellences. So I was at Chelsea Centre of Excellence, played for Arsenal Centre of Excellence and Middlesex TV as well. Went from there to Colchester and then played at Watford Academy, which was really good. So from there, during that time, I also had the honour and the experience of going to several different England junior camps, under 15 camps, which was really, really good. Got to work alongside Siobhan Chamberlain, who was one of the coaches at that camp, which was really good. And from there, unfortunately, managed to get myself injured. So played Sunday League, played at Barnet, played at Southam, and things like that. I'm currently the 6th choice goalkeeper at Abingdon United Women. So if all else goes wrong, I'll go in. But I need about 6 weeks notice so I can book the week off after that. It's been that long. But yeah, it's when I got injured, that's when I started looking at coaching instead. I mean, I've had so many coaches through the years who my first goalkeeping coach was somebody called Pat, and I was very lucky in the sense that I wasn't treated, separately from the boys. I was one of the boys. I was expected to do what the boys did, which helped me in my development. It helped me understand that just because I'm a girl, I'm not a girl goalkeeper. I'm a goalkeeper who happened to be a girl.
Yeah,
that
definitely
was the difference. And I think that's the most important thing, that helped me in my development. And that's what I try and instill in the people that I coach, whether they're girls or boys. You're not a boy goalkeeper or a girl goalkeeper. You're just a goalkeeper who happens to be a boy or a girl. That's the only difference. So yeah, and that's that. Then my my best friend, we were sat on the sofa one day before this whole pandemic happened, and said, "Oh, the club that I play for needs a goalkeeper coach." I said, "I'm not really sure. I've only just got back from an injury. I don't know if it's a good idea." Next thing I know, me and Adam are working really closely together on the development of football. So it's been a different side of things for me, but I'm really enjoying it.
Definitely. And then for yourself, Adam, obviously having someone who's got the experience of England camps, basically, working with you, how can you tap into that knowledge, and how does that help you on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's the kind of the experience all the way through as well. So many players tend to turn to goalkeepers probably when they get to 15, I find it in the men's game as well sometimes, 15, 16 years old. But one thing that we've got with Robin is the experience of starting as a goalkeeper at such a young age. So you could argue that she's effectively been through what every single goalkeeper we've got has been through. Even, and it's the level, and because she's played through those experiences, she's got the level of respect that's required. So for example, our current number one, she's played at a high level, she's played at a very high level, but she still respects what Robin brings to the game. So for, as soon as Tash got on to me to say that Robin was looking around, I did a bit of a Google search to see whether Robin, once had trials for West Ham, that old saying. But yeah, it was, and it just so happened that we lost a goalkeeper coach at the end of last season, who in herself was a very, very good coach. And then just after the phone conversation that I had with Robin, I thought, do you know what, this could work out, and the experience is priceless. And I think for me, the biggest thing with Robin, I'm gonna make her head really big now, but the biggest thing for me is just that attitude of, you're not that small club attitude, and not that big I've been everywhere attitude. It's somebody I can trust, who I go to and say, right, what would you do in this situation, even with the defenders, not just the goalkeepers. So yeah, I just think that and the experience has taught her that, whether it be the centre of excellence, I would probably say if you dug really far deep, you probably learn more in your grassroots days than you probably did in your academy days. But the experience is priceless. I mean, I've got nothing against brand new coaches, but to have a former good goalkeeper coaching our currently what I believe are good goalkeepers is you for free. Can I add as well? For free, with no intention of getting her paid at the moment. So it's fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. Well, nice. Robin's blushing now a bit, I think.
Yeah.
No, well, honestly, guys, that's all we've got for today, all the time we've got. But it's been absolutely fantastic to have you down, and we'll definitely be having you down again in the future. And we're organising them days, which is we're really looking forward to. So thank you very much, guys.
No, it's really appreciated, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Very welcome.